So, moving on to the characters. What do we have here? Our protagonist Jill. She's pretty bad in my eyes. And this goes far beyond all the plot armor issues we've already talked about. But let's just start there. Nemesis grabs her, kicks her against a wall, and she just takes it. I mean, Nemesis is supposed to be this extremely powerful weapon, and he's specifically designed to kill former STARS members. But he barely does any significant damage to Jill. She tanks so many hits, it's insane. Her plot armor is very prominent throughout the entire game, and it will only get worse from here. Besides the horrendous plot armor though, Nemesis is also a fucking idiot. Remember, he's a killing machine. He's supposed to be very capable. And what does he do in this first chase sequence? He smashes through the wall, kicks her, lifts her up, smashes her on the ground, and tries to stomp her with his foot. Like, dude, you pretty much had her. You could have just snapped her neck right here. Use your weird tentacles, or hell, he could probably just crush her skull. He legitimately is one of the worst killing machines I've ever seen. He doesn't even try to kill her. This will also get worse as we go along. Although this sequence is pretty bad already. So at the end, Jill manages to escape by running out of the burning building, and some huge stones have fallen between the exit and Nemesis. So of course he can't get through. He also can't go around and take another route or anything. And then Jill enters a lift that takes her up to the top of a building, where a rescue helicopter is going to pick her up, but then it gets shot by something and crashes down. And then we see Nemesis in the distance, slowly, very slowly walking towards Jill. 'Cause you know, he has to be super intimidating. He cannot run at her, because, I mean, why would he do that? That's not menacing enough. Guys, come on. So Jill decides to get into a car that apparently was just conveniently right beside her. And of course she can turn it on and everything. And then, as Nemesis is still slowly walking towards her, she hits the gas, slams into Nemesis, and drives them both off the top of the building. So, yeah, she's 100% dead. There's no way she would be able to survive something like this. But of course she does. So, they both slam onto the street. Jill also didn't even break any bones, or heaven forbid, got knocked out for some time. She's hurting, sure, but she can still move, and there are no lasting consequences for her because of this. Which is stupid, but okay. So she starts crawling out of the car, and Nemesis starts approaching the car, and she gets like maybe 2 meters, at maximum 3 meters away from the car, before it explodes, and it throws her to the ground. You know, the explosion does something. No damage, of course, which it should be doing, but hey, it's still something. So then we beat Nemesis, for now of course, and then just right before the whole building starts to explode, Jill runs, jumps off the building and slides down the side of the building. And if you're watching this episode on YouTube, which I highly recommend, you can see that the shit she manages to pull off here is pretty insane. She lands on a construction framework, it breaks loose, and she holds onto it like Spider-Man. Until it breaks, and she falls like 5 meters to the ground. And then the framework almost crashes on her, but she rolls to the side and is safe. This shouldn't have happened if she's just a normal human. When she fell to the ground, she should have broken some bones, or at least be so exhausted that she couldn't have reacted to the framework falling on her. And after that, she just gets up and starts walking again, like nothing happened. The only thing showing us that she's in any way impacted or hurt by all the shit she's experiencing is her holding her tummy. As if that's the only place where she would feel pain. It's so lazily done, I really don't like it. I can picture the game devs in my head thinking, Well, Jill should express her pain in some way. We can't just have her not acknowledge it at all. That would be weird. Oh yeah, let's just make her hold her stomach and make a painful face for a couple of times. Done. Jill's plot armor is truly one of my biggest gripes with this entire game, because it's so apparent that the game wants you to think how cool and badass she is, but this just ends up making her way too resistant to stuff that would absolutely wreck a normal human. And then we go on a bit until, shocker, Nemesis pops up again with a fucking rocket launcher. I feel like every time Nemesis is knocked out, some umbrella guys just find him, pick him up, give him new upgrades, and then send him off again. Seriously, where does he get all these weapons from? And Nemesis starts spamming you with these rockets, and they don't do any damage. It's insane. This is another horrendous case of plot armor, because Jill only takes any damage if the rockets hit her directly. And even if she gets hit by a rocket, she doesn't die immediately, which is fucking ridiculous. If you remember, Carlos used a rocket launcher to knock out Nemesis with only one shot. And then this special whatever kind of rocket launcher can't kill Jill even if the rockets hit her directly. It's so dumb. And the explosions the rockets make when they hit like 2 inches away from her don't even do any damage whatsoever. Like, this is the worst rocket launcher I've ever seen. Just look at this. How is that a thing? Jill is like immune to environmental damage. And then there's a cutscene in which the exact opposite happens. Nemesis shoots a rocket, hits the ground right next to her, and she gets yanked like 6 meters away. Jill fucking survives everything in this game. Not only that, but she also doesn't even get injured by many things that she should absolutely get severely injured by. She falls off so many things onto a hard solid ground and doesn't break anything. She sometimes is and sometimes isn't immune to the rockets coming out of a rocket launcher. The same exact rocket launcher, by the way. She often has Spider-Man-like abilities when it comes to clinging to an edge of a platform, and she can apparently turn the one being that was designed to kill her into a complete moron. Besides all that, her character is just nothing more than a female power fantasy. And it's not even a good one. She's always super cool and badass. In every interaction, she just can't resist but to drop some cold and overly cool line of dialogue.
Right. How's that going for you? Enjoy that.
Leave this mess to him. He's a professional.
So am I. Look, just so you know, this is the last fucking time.
If I die, you'll never find out the truth.
I don't mind a little detective work.
And while she says those lines, she carries a pretty arrogant and self-confident look on her face.
I know what a radio is. Well, you can thank your corporate overlords for that.
And everyone else also thinks she's super cool and loves her.
All right, super cop.
Really? Way to go, partner. One step ahead.
Good work. Your reputation is well deserved.
Nah, but she's not like that. Hell, she's not like anybody.
The other big issue I have with her as a video game protagonist is that she always looks super pretty. When you walk through the streets filled with zombies, she always has that model gaze on her face. And even after all that shit that she goes through, she still looks great. It's like in fucking Black Widow, where Natasha realistically dies like 11 times, but then at the end, still looks just fine. But that's a totally different story. Black Widow sucked, by the way. Anyway, back to Jill. If you want to make her this badass female character that can take a beating and go toe-to-toe with a huge monster killing machine, then why not show that by giving her some scars and cuts? But that's exactly the thing. The female protagonist always needs to look super attractive and pretty. And Jill really seems to be a good person, except for her sporadic arrogance and coldness.
Well, what matters is that we can get everyone out of the city now. Nikolai, don't! The city needs that vaccine! No! Do you have any idea what you've just done?
But like, that's it. There's nothing more to her character. She's just a badass female cop that wants to save Raccoon City. And that's fine for the purpose of this game, but no one can tell me that she is a well-written character.